Then he called out in my hearing with a loud voice, saying, let those who have charge over the city draw near, each with a deadly weapon in his hand. In other words, these messengers are coming to execute God's judgment. And suddenly 6 men came from the direction of the upper gate, which faces north, each with his battle axe in his hand. In other words, with a weapon in his hand, because they're going to execute God's wrath upon this unfaithful wife who has broken the marriage covenant. One man among them was clothed with linen and had a writer's inkhorn at his side. In other words, he had a seal. They went in and stood beside the bronze altar. Now the glory of the God of Israel had gone up from the cherub where it had been to the threshold of the temple. And he called to the man clothed with linen who had the writer's inkhorn at his side. And the Lord said to him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and put a mark. Where? Is there a mark in Revelation on the forehead? Absolutely. Put a mark on the foreheads of the men who what? Sigh and cry over all the abominations that are done within it. Was everybody worshiping the sun? No. There were some faithful ones that were not worshiping the sun. And what is told to this man who has the writer's inkhorn is, put a seal on those who are not practicing the abominations, those who are not worshiping the sun. Do you see the contrast between the sun worshipers and those who have the mark on their foreheads? Very interesting. Notice verse 5. To the others he said in my hearing, go after him through the city and kill. That's after the sign of protection has been placed. Go after him through the city and kill. Do not let your eyes spare, nor have any pity. Utterly slay old and young men, maidens and little children and women, but do not come near anyone on whom is the mark. And begin at my sanctuary. That is where the ministers were. So they began with the elders who were before the temple. The punishment began with the religious leaders because they led God's people into idolatry and into these practices. And this was fulfilled, this punishment was fulfilled when Nebuchadnezzar came and destroyed the city of Jerusalem and took the people captive. Let's read about it in 2 Chronicles chapter 36 and verses 15 through 18. It says there, and the Lord God of their fathers sent warnings to them by his messengers, rising up early and sending them because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they mocked the messengers of God, despised his words, and scoffed at his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, till there was no remedy. Therefore, he brought against them the king of the Chaldeans, who killed their young men. Do you remember Ezekiel chapter 9? Don't spare. Kill young men, maidens, kill children, everything. Notice what it says, verse 17. Therefore he brought against them the king of the Chaldeans, who killed their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, had no compassion on young man or virgin, on the aged or the weak. He gave them all into his hand. Is this a sad story? This is a very sad story.